bear with me. This is the first time I've done anything like this one, so a little nervous. But first of all, I want to thank you for having me today. We're going to go over just a brief overview of VoIP and what that is and how that's affecting business communication. First thing I want to start with is a brief overview of my company. Period was founded in 1998 with the idea of advancing small to medium-sized business through the use of technology. We've been pretty successful with that over the years. Around 2005, we see VoIP come into the market and emerging as a technology that small to medium-sized businesses could really utilize. So we started offering that around 2005. And around 2 years ago, we launched a period CallPath as our hosted platform to further that venture. Anybody familiar with VoIP or voice over IP, what it is? Okay, so we have a few. Okay. So for those of you that are not, voice over IP is simply going to use your high-speed internet connection and your network backbone that you've already spent a small fortune on to utilize that for voice communications. There's two main types of VoIP we'll go over today. One's hosted, which is in the brochures and handouts on the table. The other is SIP trunking, which allows us to bring new technology into an older phone system. My cue cards here. We're going to start, there's a lot of advantages to VoIP. One of the biggest for small business is the cost, so we're going to start there. On average, a business owner can see a cost savings of about 50% over their old-style phone systems and having a third-party phone provider. I know that sounds like a big number, but when you think about it, we're not purchasing an on-site phone system anymore. We're not bringing in a third party to bring us phone lines like Charter, Windstream, AT&T. Hosted solutions package that all into one package along with the features of the phone system. Another great benefit of it is unified communications. Anybody have any idea what that even stands for? Okay. It's basically a marketing buzzword we like to throw out there because it sounds fancy. What that is it's the integration of your communications across your company so your employees can work more effectively. And a couple examples of that are, say, voicemail to email. You know, if you're not at your desk and you have the reception or somebody's leaving you a voicemail, generally you're not going to get that voicemail until you come back into the office. With a hosted system, that sends that voicemail directly to your email. You can pick it up there and respond to the customer quicker. Another example of that would be cell phone integration. There's apps amongst all the voice over IP providers out there. You can actually turn your cell phone into a business extension. So the integration comes in that the receptionist sends your sales guy, Bob, a call. Well, Bob's not in his office. He's out in the field trying to make another sale. His cell phone will actually ring from that company extension. Then he can call that client back from the company extension and phone number instead of from his cell phone number. So we can keep that anonymity with your salespeople and with your technicians. If you're anything like me, I love working from home. So with that hosted platform, we can take a company phone, plug that into our internet connection at home, and work from our extension. Make calls in and out of the company in that fashion. That's one of my favorite features. They also include hosted faxing. So instead of having to print your documents on paper, send them through the fax machine, and then have the receptionist walk over whoever, put it through the shredder, that waste of paper, we incorporate faxing right into the system. So faxes come into your email, and you can send faxes out through your email. It's very convenient. It's very scalable. For companies that are growing or setting up, construction companies, for instance, will set up small areas when they're working on a project. To keep communications going there, once their internet connection is installed, they can place company phones there without a problem. When the project is over, they can then remove those extensions from that system. It's scalable very simply to move up and down for what the company's needs are. It is, we talked about that network backbone and the reliability of it there. That's going to have a direct effect on how reliable your voice over IP phone system is, or how reliable the SIP trunking is. And anymore, all of our internet connections are pretty solid, so it's not much of a problem. When you are looking at vendors, though, the first thing you want to ask them about before any features that you get into is going to be, what is their disaster recovery plan? What happens when my internet goes down and I can't get to that hosted system? Most providers will have some sort of built-in rollover for your calls to go to. But even if, some don't. So some will be sitting in voicemail, which isn't all that bad because you're still getting your voicemail to your phone. You can still respond to customers and clients. CallPath has that built into it. And we also use your multiple locations to be able to route calls to. So if location A is down, all the calls can automatically route to location B, and your calls are still being answered. SIP trunking. SIP trunking allows us to use your current on-site phone system and bring the new technology into it. So you still see about a 30 to 40% savings, but in that there is going to be the type of hardware you have to purchase to get that into your system. And a lot of what we see if we're looking at that realm is some of the phone systems are old enough to the point that once we do convert that digital signal back to analog, the phone system starts getting a little choppy. That's there. It doesn't know how to really handle those calls coming in. So that can be an effect on trying to use your current system. When you're looking at that SIP system to get into your current phone system, the converters that are out there, they range between a few $100s to a few thousand, and that's really going to make a difference in what type of call quality you experience. Same with a hosted provider. You're going to want to research your hosted provider and make sure they have good coverage in your area. Make sure the internet connection can handle what they're using. I kind of sped through my little cards here, being a little nervous, so I apologize. Is there any questions so far to this point?
Sure. What about fiber?
You can run voice over IP on fiber. Yep, it's just going to be a faster connection than, say, running it over Charter or a T1 line. A lot of you, I'm sure, are probably using fractional T1s. They can be expensive to run your voice through. But fiber will run just fine. It all depends on what type of backbone you have in place. Any other questions? Yeah.
Back in 2008, as I was setting up another location for a business, my boss called me up and says, "How come you don't have a fax machine?" I said, "We're in the 21st century. They're dead. They're gone. They're obsolete." And now I hear you saying you're doing fax to email?
Correct. Yep. Yeah,
I thought the email was almost obsolete.
I don't think we're going to obsolete email for a while yet. It's a pretty good communication strategy. But the faxing works is very simple. We fax documents out in PDF format. So as long as you have that PDF saved on your PC, you attach it to an email as you would any other attachment. The difference being is when you put that fax number to send out, I'm going to give you a hosted fax server to send that to. So you send it directly out to your Outlook client or whatever it is you're using. And that will land on the recipient's fax machine. It does not have to go to another hosted-based fax. And there's a lot of vendors out there that will tell you that they can use a converter and bring faxes into your current fax machine, which is true. If they also explain to you that it's about 80% profit. If you have faxes coming in that are 3 to 4 pages, not a problem, they'll generally come through. You start getting faxes in that are 15, 20, 30 pages, you're going to be missing a page here and there. You may get a jarbled page. It's not an exacting technology to convert back from digital to analog for a fax. So when you're out there looking for different providers, if they say, "I have a 100% faxing solution, and we can use your existing fax," just kind of sit back and chuckle, because you know that's not correct. Any other questions?
You're talking about phones and stuff, so you have new digital phones or something? Or
Yeah.
what do they run for a system?
Cost-wise, between $75 and $149 for a base model. You can also get into phones that will be wireless or do video conferencing on them. Those can get into the price range of up to $200 to $300 a phone. When you're looking at the phones, make sure you're looking at a phone that has an HD quality voice. There's a lot of cheaper phones out there you can get drawn into that are $40, $50. They seem great until the first time you make a call, and you're like, "Wow, my old system sounded better than this." So that HD voice is really important when you're buying hardware. Another point I'd like to make is when you're buying that hardware, maybe you have a bad experience with your first hosted provider. Maybe we didn't do enough research. That hardware can be used with any hosted VoIP provider. It's not locked into any one provider. So you can always, we like to do when we do a setup, if you're interested in the system, we'll bring a couple phones out. I want you to use those for a week or two. I Make sure your backbone for your network is strong, the voice is the quality you're expecting, you know, and those phones are gonna work well for you, because there's a lot of different functions on phones. Go ahead.
I think yours probably does too, have some nice security systems where you can track all the calls that went in and out of the corporation, who's making them, how long they're on them at any one time.
Yes, we do have an operator panel built in, and thank you for queuing me up, because I missed that on my part. We have an operator panel built right in, one for admins and one for users. About 10% of the offerings out there for VoIP will offer an operator panel. I would suggest you find one. And like I stated, the nice part is you can see every call coming into your company, what extensions are online, what number they've been talking to in the duration. And so we all have that one employee that likes to chat with the wife for 45 minutes while he's working. I mean, it all shows up. You can also record calls as well. So you have the option to keep those calls on file and then record them. Another addition we built into CallPath that's just starting to come out with VoIP is we have an instant messenger built right in. And what our instant messenger does is not only instant messenger, obviously, but that allows your employees to log in. So when they log into that setup, it'll tell me that that employee is available, away from their desk, or gone for the day. So instead of interrupting a call, I can shoot them a simple message saying, so-and-so's on the phone, would you like it? And move on from there. So if there is that offering out there for some VoIP providers, that's a good one to look for. Anybody else? Yeah.
We've been with CallPath for about a year now,
Mm-hmm.
and we were getting quotes from the other third parties out there, and you guys came in, I think, off, because we bought all the phones from you
Yep.
and everything, and I think it was like $25,000 savings, I believe it was.
Over the last system you were quoted, it was right around the 20,000 mark.
Yeah.
What a lot of these companies will do is they want to keep your upfront low, so they will put lease terms together for you. And it's a dangerous road to go down because you're buying hardware, and we all know how technology changes. It's overnight and your phones are obsolete or this piece is no longer. They will take your monthly service, put that into a 3-year lease plan along with the hardware setup, the whole 9 yards. It sounds great. But when you start breaking those numbers down and the percentages these companies are charging you for leasing, you have paid for that system almost 4 times over. And that's the scenario that Chad found themselves in with another provider. So when we come in and we tell Chad, you know, yeah, you need to buy the phones and there's some setup. But once you purchase these phones, they're yours. Go anywhere you want. If you're stuck in a 3-year lease, those leases generally have a fair market buyout or a dollar buyout. You don't own the equipment at that point. You know, so the upfront does look a lot less, but the overall investment yet was huge, especially in their case. Voice over IP tends to work off of the number of minutes you're going to use, so it's kind of like an old cell phone plan. A lot of providers will put unlimited extensions out there, which is great to get a company started. Anytime you guys are going to go with a voice over IP solution, you should spend the first 2 months on an unlimited plan. It's going to cost you more up front. It's going to cost you less in the long run. If you go on a, say, 10,000 minute plan the first month, and you end up using 20,000 minutes, they charge you for those. If you do it on an unlimited, they do not. And a good provider will come back in those 2 months, revisit your account, and then tailor it from there. At least that's the way we start off. We're always going to put you on an unlimited, and we're going to move from there. That'll tailor us down. Is there anything else I should have touched on that I missed here? Any more questions?
Okay, well, thank you, Ben.
Well, thank you.
It's interesting